C.L.I.M.B. It's a show dedicated to helping singers, songwriters, and indie artists like you create leverage in the music business. And as a matter of fact, if you think about it, the C.L.I.M.B. is an acronym. C.L.I.M.B. Create leverage in the music business. And with that, I want to introduce you to my awesomely talented co-host, Mr. Brent Baxter. Brent's an award-winning hit songwriter with cuts by Alan Jackson, Randy Travis, Lady Antebellum, Joe Nichols, and more. And Brent is also a saint. He helps songwriters like you turn pro by teaching the art, the craft, and the business of songwriting. And you can find Brent and all that amazing knowledge that you're going to need at manvsrow.com. That's manvsrow.com. Mr. Brent Baxter, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to get into what you're going to lay on us, Johnny. But first, let me introduce you. This is, ladies and gentlemen, is Johnny Dwinell. Johnny owns Daredevil Production, an innovative artist development company. Not only do they develop and improve your artistry, they also grow and monetize your fan base, creating cash flow. Daredevil has worked with multi-platinum artists like Colin Ray, Tracy Lawrence, Ty Herndon, and Andy Griggs, just to name a few. You can find Johnny at daredevilproduction.com. That's production singular with no S. Hey, Johnny, what are you laying on us today? I'm excited.
Oof. Well, we're going to talk about just some fundamental changes that have happened in the industry that I think artists need to know about when they're trying to market themselves. And it makes sense. They're just insights. It's just these are the facts, and the facts are undisputed. Okay, you remember that from?
Wait a second. Wait.
What was it? The Few Good Men, the movie A Few Good Men.
There you go. So wait, you're saying that for an artist, marketing themselves, I don't need to do that because I'm going to put out a single, right? And then the label's going to pick me up, and the label's going to market me, right? So I just need to go in the studio, right?
Well, I mean, listen, that's a whole other episode by itself. No, I mean, labels aren't developing artists anymore. Labels are acquisition-based companies now. They can't afford to, so labels are purchasing small businesses. So you better have a viable small business that's happening with some activity, with some social media presence, with some sales. And then, you believe me, if you got enough of that going on, your phone's going to ring. People are taking into you and wanting you to the industry. But it's not the situation like it was for Bruce Springsteen and John Bon Jovi and stuff like that, where they were able to be developed. And even in that situation, like, with artists like John Bon Jovi, he still figured out a way to prove that his music had value in the marketplace. He had a hit single before he had a record deal on a compilation record. So there's different ways to do that, but you've got to prove that your art has value in the marketplace, that people care what you're doing. Just because you think they should care doesn't mean that they really do. And so how to do that? I mean, here's the thing. If you're smart, then you're going to be like me. You're going to be smart like me. And you're going to be like thinking, man, all right, so how did my favorite bands doing it, right? How did they get to me? How did I become aware of them? How did it happen? They got a record deal. They got on the sun. They got on the radio. And then I heard them through the radio, or I heard them through a friend who heard them on the radio. And that's the way it normally happened. Well, if that's how you're basing your business model, which would make you smart, because that's what's been going on, what you're unaware of is that the market has changed. It's no longer a viable methodology for marketing your music. And I'm going to tell you why. For decades and decades and decades, the first interaction between a marketplace and the consumers within that marketplace and a brand new artist like you was the music. It was the hit single. Why? Because you turn on, let's talk about the power of terrestrial radio and the power it used to have to expose an artist to a market. Let's just break that down real quick. Brent, when you get in the car, listeners to this podcast and watch your viewers of this video channel or this YouTube channel, when you get into a car and turn on your radio, tell me, because everybody's got the same answer. What are you looking for? What do you want to hear?
My jam.
You want to hear your
song I want to hear. Yeah.
You want to hear something that you know, right? Like, I want something that I know. I don't want this stuff over here. I want AC/DC. I want John Bon Jovi. I want Luke Bryan. I want Tim McGraw. I want Jay-Z. I want Lady Gaga. So you want what you know. As human beings, we covet what we know, what we see every day, what we hear every day. We want what we want, and we want what we know. So radio had the ability to, and I've broken this down, Brent, into a percentage, into a force, like a subroutine, if you think about this like in terms of computers, right? But radio had the power to force the unfamiliar to become familiar in a marketplace. And let's break that down. So there's 4 steps that happen when you hop in your car and you turn on the radio. Number 1, you get in your car, you turn on the radio, and what are they playing? Your jam. What do?
Lucky me, I'm happy I turned it up.
Turn it up. That's right? Yeah. You're like, yes. Or there's a commercial playing. And what do? You either wait for the commercial to get done or you change the channel, right?
Right.
Number 3, they're playing something that you're familiar with, but you don't like. So you either wait through that to get to the DJ, hope you can play your jam, or you change the channel. Or number 4, playing something that you're unfamiliar with. So if they're unfamiliar with it, then you don't want to, I want to get to my jam. So you're either going to change the channel, and the same subroutine happens again, where you literally have a 75% chance of being unsatisfied and not finding your jam. And either way, you're stuck between 2 stations, crossing your fingers, hoping that the DJ is going to play your jam next. But you are doing what while you're waiting with your fingers crossed?
I'm listening.
You're listening.
Yep.
You're listening to the unfamiliar. And guess what? That unfamiliar song became the very first single that U2 released. It became the very first single that Motley Crue or John Bon Jovi released, or the very first single that Jay-Z released, or that Luke Bryan or Tim McGraw released. The icons of the icons today started out with one single, and you were forced to be familiar with it because you didn't have choices. If you were listening to the radio, you either had what you already owned or you listened to the radio. So think about this. Now, 50% of the automobiles, just in GM, 50% of automobiles right now, coming off the end of 2015, are equipped, and they're already advertising this, with 4G LTE Wi-Fi capability, and they either have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto technology. So now I get in, what's that subroutine look like now? What am I looking for? My jam.
My jam.
I get in, first station, not playing my jam. Second station, not playing my jam. I go to Deezer, Spotify, Slacker, Pandora. I can go to HD Radio. I can go to iHeartRadio. I can go to XM Sirius Satellite Radio. I have literally an infinite amount of choices, to the point where I am absolutely going to find my jam, and I don't have to listen to anything that's unfamiliar. I don't have to suffer through that. Because listen, the unfamiliar to familiar process, this is a mathematical equation, the number 7. It takes an individual, it takes a song being played to one consumer 7 times before it sticks in your head and becomes sticky inside there and becomes your jam. And then when that happens, and that's when it's a hit song by, I mean, hit songs might be a little quicker on that, okay? But, the average song is going to be a single, maybe it's going to be a hit, but it's going to take a little time, seven times. So how many spins in a marketplace does it take before you're going to be in the car and have to hear it 7 times?
A lot.
Think about that. So, but what does that mean? That means that the first single is necessary for marketing the artist. Right? And that's the way that you've always been marketed to. This is what I want to put across to you. This is the way you've always been marketed to. So it would stand to reason that that's the way you'd want to market yourself, because that's the way your favorite artists would market to you. That would make you smart. But what you're unaware of is that everything has changed. Now that I have an infinite amount of choices and I don't have to listen to what's unfamiliar, I don't have to suffer. If I don't have to suffer, then here's what's changed. The first interaction between a market and all the individual people, consumers within that market, and a brand new artist is not going to be the single anymore. Not going to be the music. It's going to be the artist.
The artist, him or herself, huh?
That's right. And so you're going to be online. You're going to be on social media. You're going to videos. You're going to be doing covers on YouTube. You're going to be doing different things that are going to catch the attention of people and showcase your talent. I submit to you that, listen, in the last, every decade since we started playing music on the radio and started selling recorded music, there have been a fair share of what we call manufactured artists. that really can't sing, or maybe they'll outwork everybody else. They have these other attributes, but it wasn't about vocal talent or writing talent or any kind of like serious talent other than I'll outwork you and I'm willing to forego everything to be a rock star kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Those days are over. The future of the music business really, truly belongs to the talented again, which is nice, like it was back in the 40s and the 50s, And so the artist that understands that it's about you, and if the consumers get to meet you and are introduced to you and like you, they're going to give your music a chance. And when they give your music a chance, and they like you enough and you've created a deep relationship online, buy the record. Okay. And so what's the big takeaway from this? If you think about this, if you've got a situation where the single is the first interaction, the way it was in the old days, which is just 5 years ago, right? Between an artist and a new market, then you can't really do anything until you get done with the single, right? You got to have the single first. Right. And you've got to go out and spend a lot of money and put that on radio. And you've also got to play games to get it on you've got to make the radio people happy. You've got to make the record label happy. There's like 6 different committees you got to go through to be creative to get your song on the radio. But now the good news is that doesn't have to happen anymore. And also, if you're an indie artist and your plan for marketing, and I hear this all the time, Brent, is to wait till your record's done to start marketing. You're losing. You've already lost. The market's different. We've got an artist that we're working with, Bailey James. We've been working with her for a year now, only like 11 months, and her single's going to come out early next year in 2016. We've been developing the project this whole year. We recorded it in June. We've been mixing it. We've been doing some tweaks to the mix. We've been getting the merch together, the whole package, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to release the record until early 2016, but we have been marketing this girl since February of 2015. So for a year, we'll have been marketing for her for a year prior to the release of that. Now, what do we have from that? What are the fruits of our labor? We've got an artist with an Instagram account that has, she's 12, man. She's played no gigs. She played 1 gig at a high school. That's it. At a middle school, in Kentucky. 1 show.
One show.
She doesn't tour. So we've got an artist that has literally almost 30,000 Instagram followers. By the time you all watch this episode, she'll have 30,000 Instagram followers. They're engaged. She gets an average of 600-700 likes per comment per post. Every post, a solid average of 85 comments per post, and her comment to like ratio. This is a metric that determines that how deep the relationship is. Okay, take Carrie Underwood. Yeah. Carrie Underwood's got 2.8 million followers on Instagram, so
that's a lot.
Gets a lot. Carrie gets an average of 110,000 likes per post, but her comments. Man, maybe like 800 to 2,400, depending on what what the post is. Right. So that's between like 1% and 2%.
Okay.
Of the amount of likes that she gets to comments, because it's extra work to put a comment in. But Bailey James, the way that we're approaching this, because it's about creating relationships, her comment to like ratio is like 14 to 18%, depending on the post. So it's a deeper relationship. And guess what? $10 to buy a CD of 10 songs isn't a lot of money. It's not about the money. I keep saying this over and over. Man, people spend twice the price of gasoline every day at a convenience store for something they can get for free, which is bottled tap water. Tap water free. You want to buy it for $99 or $1.50. There's 3.7 liters in a U.S. gallon. Do the math. It's more expensive than gasoline. And so the point being that it's not about the money, it's about the marketing. That's the issue. And so for an artist, a smart indie artist, going to understand this. You're going to start marketing not when your record's done, right now. I'm working with artists that are still developing their sound, that haven't quite developed their artistic lane, that are already starting to market their talent. They can sing, they can write. They can, you know what I mean? So they're marketing that, whatever their attribute is, That's what we're marketing. That's what we're putting out there to the consumers via.
So are you like doing cover songs? You're doing like YouTube covers and that kind of stuff on there?
Yeah.
How like Bailey, how is she, what kind of stuff is she putting out there to connect with fans to get that first meeting? Because she didn't have a single yet.
Two things we're doing. Number one is, first of all, the beauty of social media outside of YouTube is that you get to who comes to be, essentially. Okay. You get to target an audience. You can be super targeted. I mean, I always joke, this is a funny tongue-in-cheek thing, but I mean, if your music only resonates with pale, young Asian boys under the age of 14 with really bad acting in one leg, there's a club out there and we can find them and we can connect you with them, and then you can create that relationship. And if you speak for them, they're going to buy your product. You know, they're going to do it. So we target. We know Bailey's audience is 9 to 14-year-old kids. She's 12 years old, and her lyrics are about that schoolyard thing. They're about classrooms and hallway lockers and football games and kind of like first record Taylor Swift kind of stuff. You know, Taylor grew up, right, Brent? So her new lyrics are there. I got a long list of ex-lovers, and you know, you can be the next one. I got a blank space. You can write your name. So she's a far cry from you wear high heels, I wear sneakers. You're on the cheer team. I'm in the bleachers. You know, and there's a vacuum in that market now, which is perfect for Bailey to fit into. So we're targeting an audience of people that we know are going to like her, and then we do two things on YouTube, which is YouTube, man, is like in the 80s when I was growing up and I was that artist, like there was MTV, which was like better than any radio station because it was a nationwide market as opposed to one single city, right? And you weren't limited to the amount of people in the city. It was like nationwide. But still, I mean, you had to go through 6 committees to get your video on MTV and spend $100,000 on a video and have a record deal and blah, 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 blah. But now you got YouTube. And you can put your own video up there. You've got quite a few with your Matt Klein project, which is genius with the that I love. But so YouTube, you can reach the whole world, and you can do it by yourself from your bedroom, and that's what Bailey's doing. So she does covers. We pick covers. Now we look at, and I'll say this real quick in less than 60 seconds. You know, the covers that we pick for Bailey for the specifics of YouTube are not about an artistic. Is this a cover I would ever record and put on my record? It's not that way. It's artistic in a different way, in the sense that we're looking for what's going to have the most traffic, but how can you take this song, whatever genre it's in, and make it your own?
Gotcha.
Right. And stylistically interpret that you would, because the more different it is from the original, the cooler and the more shareable it becomes. And the more remarkable. The more remarkable it becomes. So we've got an artist in Bailey. She's got over 220,000 views on her YouTube channel with 2,600 subscribers. These are people that get an email every time she puts a new video up. She's consistent. The other thing that we did, and you know, the overflow, like everybody's looking for the new Adele song and they see a 12-year-old girl singing Adele, they're going to click on that for a second. And if she blows their mind in the first 5 seconds, which she does, because she's talented as nobody's business, man. The girl can sing. And then they're like, oh my gosh, look at this. And they share, oh my God, look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this, you know? And it starts to build, but it takes time. It takes consistency, like you said, you know, in our prior episode, you talked about being consistent is what you do every day. And so we do that. And the other thing, actually, Bailey came up with this, which was genius, which was 5 questions with Bail. So every week on her social media, we put out a, you know, what do you want Bailey to know about, you know? And then we field the questions, and then in a little short 3 to 5 minute vignette, she talks about, she answers those questions and gives one random fact about herself. You know, here's something really weird. I'm really super clumsy. I got on a treadmill the other day and wiped out, and it burned my leg, and I had to go to the doctor, and I got this nasty scar on my leg. I'll have it for the rest of my life because I fell down on a treadmill. Like, and then she'd say, what's your you know, one crazy factoid, like tell me below and comment, you know? And so she gets those comments, she gets tons of comments. She knows how to interact and be on that stage, on that social media stage. And so that's the future, guys. It's about you. It's not about the music at first. Your music is important. The songs are important. The recordings are important. But the way that we used to connect you with an audience in the music industry has now changed. So the single is not going to be the way that people are going to get to know you. They're going to get to know you now because of you, and then they're going to listen to the single, and it better rock. But with that, you can create. We've got Bailey James over 60,000 followers, all her social media accounts combined. We're proud of that. And that's been in less than a year, 10 months. We've done that. These are not purchased. These are not fake. They're engaged. They're targeted. We know they're roughly 9 to 14 years old. We've got some other people in there for sure, but from the way that we target. So that's the way you got to handle it. But that's what I want to talk with you guys about today. It's 30,000 feet. You got to understand if I'm on the water, I'm going to need a flotation device. If I'm on land, I'm going to need some sneakers. You got to make sure that you're thinking about this the right way, so you know how to navigate the terrain, right?
Right.
So with that, Mr. Brent Baxter, songwriter extraordinaire, you're giving away free information, man. You're letting people inside your brain for nothing.
I am. If you have listened to more than just this episode, I actually talk more on some others, and because we kind of take turns here. But yes, I have a free ebook I'm giving away called Think Like a Pro Songwriter. And it is full of insights to, if you want to be a pro songwriter, you need to think like a pro songwriter. And this book will help you do that. But it doesn't cost you anything. You just give me your email address so I can send it to you. And it covers topics like, how to connect to a music publisher, how to pro songwriters know who's looking for songs, 6 simple ways to make your songs more commercial, that kind of stuff. You can get it at www.giftfrombrent, Brent, giftfrombrent.com. And it show up right in your inbox, and hopefully it'll be good for you and help you get where you want to go. But I'm not the only one playing Santa Claus. Johnny, you have an Amazon bestseller that you're actually giving away, right?
Yes. We just demystified Twitter. A lot of people don't understand how to work it, or if they do work it, they don't understand the potential of it, and they can learn. Mm-hmm. So this is a bestseller, but we're also giving it away for free at Daredevil. And it'll teach you exactly how to use that tool, exactly how it works, and most importantly, how to target an audience and grow your audience by 1,000 accounts every single month for just 15 minutes a day. That's it. Just 15 minutes a day of your time, and you will start to see immediate growth in your Twitter account. You can get that at giftfromjohnny.com. That's JOHNNY. Giftfromjohnny.com. Just tell me where to send it. We'll shoot it out to you, and we'll become fast friends. And, Brent blogs every day at manversusroad.com, so you're going to want to check that out. Just all solid information, as well as I blog once a week on Daredevil. Guess what? I'm a little more wordy than Brent. He's the king of the economy of words. That's why I'm in the business of not songwriting.
I spend all my time trying to say it in less words.
That's right. Yeah. You're really good at that. And I'll go on forever if we don't put a time limit. So anyway, guys, thanks for checking out another episode of The Climb. We hope this has been beneficial. And we will see you at the top. Say goodbye, Brent.
Goodbye, Brent.